on all radio shows broadcast on Tom's Radio Toronto are entirely those of the hosts, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of Tom's Radio Toronto or its staff. These broadcasts are presented and made public as entertainment and general information only, in the hope that they will be entertaining and informative to listeners. They are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or mitigate in any way any disease or condition, or to promote any specific lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice, nor is the information presented necessarily accurate or verifiable.
This is Tom's Radio Toronto. My name is Josephine Sla, and this is African Talks. Our guest is Bori Jahazi. Karibuni sana watu wote mnaotusikiliza. Mimi jina langu ni Josephine Sloha na hapa ni Tom's Radio Toronto, radio ambayo ni multiculturalism, radio ambayo inawafikia kila culture na watu wote. Hichi ni kipindi cha African Talks na mgeni wetu ambaye ndio host wa kipindi ni Bori Jahazi. Anayo mengi ya kutuambia wa Afrika na leo Bori amekuja na kitu kipya kabisa. Sasa nafikiri wa Tanzania, wa Afrika, all Africans, let us join hands together and follow up on this program because it has a lot for us as Africans. Bori, habari ya kwako?
Nzuri sana dadangu. Vipi?
Mimi naendelea vizuri, namshukuru Mungu.
Okay, yeah. Sawa. Mimi unajua tena kama nakwambia kukua kienyeji, nilikuwa nataka kuandika hii barua. Nimeandika kitu sijamaliza kila kitu, lakini tutaongelea ambayo at least yalikuwa kichwani kwangu na najaribu kuzungumza.
Bori Jahazi, najua wewe ni mfanyabiashara. Mimi ningependa kila mara kabla ya kuanza kuambia kipindi chetu, utuambie wewe ni mfanyabiashara wa nini, lakini pia utukumbushe ni kwa nini unapenda kuongea na Waafrika.
Leo nimeandika barua. Nimejaribu kuandika barua kwa watu weusi duniani. Na pengine katika nilivyoandika hii barua sijaimaliza kwa mambo mengine ambayo nilikuwa nataka kuandika. Tutajaribu kuyazungumzia kama muda utaruhusu. Watu watakao wanasikiliza nilichoandika kwenye barua pengine wataweza kunielewa kwa nini mimi na tatizo kubwa la kusema mimi ni nani na vitu gani. Lakini nevertheless kama watu are so interested on what I am, mimi ni Mtanzania ambaye nimetoka Tanzania, nimekuja nchini Canada nikiwa na umri mdogo kama miaka 19. Nimesoma chuo kikuu huku, nikachukua degree ya science, nikafanya kazi kwenye kampuni za kusema tuliko 3 tofauti. Nikafanya biashara zangu za zaidi kwenye real estate na mortgage na vitu vingine. Mimi kwa kienyeji naangalia hapa na pale.
Kwa kweli
na nashukuru kwa Mwenyezi Mungu katika maisha yangu ya nyumbani kwangu, nimeweza kujistahimili vizuri kuliko majority ya wanaoishi hapa Canada, wa Afrika na wenye nchi yao. Sababu yangu ya kuzungumza masuala ya Afrika kwa sababu tu yalikuwa moyoni kutokana na your experience ninayoyaona.
Kwa kweli, what I can say is that I really appreciate you. You know, when I ask you who you are, it's because the education system has failed us. This cultural system has failed us. It wants us to tell who we are, but not from within. And I really appreciate you because you are using this program to tell the people who you are from within. What do you feel? What is really you? The way we see you is not you. The you we know is what you are telling us today.
Yes.
Bori, tell us that later. What's it about?
Last time I am going to speak in English today. I'm going to speak in English today. This is not a disrespect, but this is African talk, and we have a Filipino flag here.
I agree
so I will
with
take
you.
it out.
Thank you.
Last week when we talked about the COVAX goal of reaching 20%, try to save the 20% of the population of the world poorest country, I mentioned Africa to be, or the 54 countries in Africa to be among those poorest country in Africa. And at the same time, what I also recognize is that there's absolutely no country in this world that majority of people in that country are black people that is also not among those 92 poorest country in the world. And as we stand, if this disease does tend to affect everybody in this world, and only 20% of the world poorest country, 20% of the world poorest countries in the world will be saved, it means that the population of black people will be reduced by 80%. Whether that country is Jamaica, whether that country is Barbados, whether that country is Haiti, whether that country is Cuba, or whether that country is among the countries in Africa. Here is my thinking. If this disease does what I fear and what most of the people in the world fear, it will reduce the population of black people in the world by 80%, because there's absolutely no country in this world that majority are black that is not among 92 countries that are poorest in the world. I don't know if everybody share that concern. This is obviously the issues of God, but that fact itself that was taken by the world is downright scary to me.
Yeah, nimeona juzi Rais Biden ameanza kutoa ile supply ya excess ya dawa alizonazo. Na nikawa najaribu kufuatilia nchi ambazo zinaenda kupelekewa hiyo excess. Sasa sikuweza kuona kwa undani ni nini ambacho kinaendelea.
Mimi kama ninavyosema kuhusu wenzetu, na hata napozungumzia masuala ya politics nyumbani, na masuala ya maraisi nyumbani, na masuala ya viongozi nyumbani, wa mambo wanayoyafanya kama nayakubali au siyakubali. Nilizungumza tangu mwanzo kwamba sisi binadamu, kila mmoja wetu ameumbwa hapa duniani, ana haki ya kuishi, kuamua na kufanya anayoyataka kufanya. Ni haki yake. Mengine yanasaidia watu, mengine yanayadhuru watu, lakini ni haki yake kuamua kufanya anavyofanya. Na mara nyingi watu wanavyofanya vitu, action, maneno au decision wanazofanya, mara nyingi sana ni kutokana na yeye binafsi, what that person feels is the most important to them at that time. This is the driving force of every decision. They weigh what they should do, and they choose to do what is the best thing they think to do at that time. Whatever that motivation is. as a human being, they always have to make a choice, either to do this or the other. And all of us facing exactly the same test every day in every scenario. So it's never been my intention to talk in this radio to blame or condemn anybody. All I do is point out what my thoughts are on a different circumstances and a different situation, and what I think it should have been done that probably will be more beneficial for everybody.
And, and that's what I said from the beginning, that you sound stretching beyond your limit. Yes. Because most leaders, they obey rules, and because they obey rules, they go against God's laws. So in this world, we have two things. We have laws and rules. What I see from you, it's not that you are against the vaccine. It's not that you are against the rules of this world. No, but you are talking what you feel is right at this moment. And you are talking what you feel is filled inside you to support and help the people. So I just want to address this very clearly. When we talk about the leaders back home, when we talk about our president, we are not accusing anyone. We are trying to voice out
what we think should be.
Yes, it should be done, because everybody has the right to speak. And because we have the right to speak, we are using our right to speak what we think is good for them.
Correct.
Go ahead. So, I am with you, Boris.
I am trying to... I did not finish this letter, but I think maybe after I finish reading it,
why don't you
we'll talk about it, and maybe I can try to extend based on what I think might be. Mm-hmm. Is there a break that's supposed coming soon? I prefer to finish this before the break.
Okay, Mr. DJ in the house, please, can you extend our time for a little bit so before we go to break, so that Bori can finish that later. Let's go, Bori.
Guys, I am going to read this letter in English because it's my intention to reach every single black person in this world. I'm going to read this letter. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, I'm using these two sentences because I recognize that many of us, from no fault of their own, do not recognize themselves as Africans. However, it is an undisputed fact, just like the air you breathe in is oxygen, even though it's mixed or tainted with nitrogen, carbon dioxide, etc., that as long as you have identity of black skin, so claim to be black skin, to me it doesn't look black, and you don't have straight hair or nappy hair, a lot of our sisters don't. You are indeed an African. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, there's none of us who live in this planet we call Earth, no matter what portion of land or corner of this world, have not experienced disrespect, whether through words, actions, or just a look from our fellow human from another race. I like to emphasize to our fellow human from another race that this is not my intention to promote hate or blame you, whoever is listening. Rather, it is my attempt to call all black people who lives in this world today to weigh themselves, to uplift themselves and take actions to change this narrative about us. Because it is an experience to us, all that, unless is an experience to all of us, unless that this is for most of you, it is an experience to us and all that, unless, and this is for most of you, unless you recognize of what I am what I am instead of who I am, you will always look at us, whether from Jamaica, Haiti, Barbados, Africa, even at the corner of the world like Fiji, you always look at us the same. Dear Black people, my fellow Africans, it is undisputed fact that you, individuals, since Adam to today and to the end of this world, there never was, is, or will happen another one just like you. Your dental and fingerprints prove that. Dear Black people, my fellow Africans, it is undisputed fact that this world that we are living today is ruled by who have what, and in regarding to material things, although nothing in what dictates to rule this world in material, whether it's money, cars, etc., have absolutely no value to you, or at least shouldn't, as an individual who lives inside you in respect to your emotions. And the funny of all, the whole thing is an illusion, just like a magician put a white cloth in one pocket and remove dove in another pocket. Anyone who understands the science of eye function will completely understand this fact. Dear Black people, my fellow Africans, this is where I was run out with my time as I was writing. So I think everything else we're going to be speaking, I will try to say what is in my head and what I was trying to reach towards the thing. This was just the beginning of what I was trying to attempt to say. And after the break, maybe I will try to continue with what I was trying to communicate to you.
Thank you, Mr. DJ. Take us for a short break, and viewers, stay tuned. We'll be back and discuss about the letter. Yeah, it's cool. The same things are...
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting.
umechoka bado. Welcome viewers, this is Tom's Radio Toronto and we African Talks. Bori, tuambie, we have had the letter.
Okay, so this is where I end putting the letter. As you know, I'm a free run chicken. Too many things at once that we do to survive in this country we call Canada. So I did not have enough time to finish. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to talk to you, my fellow black people, my fellow Africans, and iterate what I was trying to say. I was not sure. The reason this letter was late, I was not sure if I should write a letter or I should have done a speech or whatever the case it is. But I'm going to try to talk from my heart today, exactly what I'm trying to reach and what I'm trying to say to us. We, as black people in this universe, none of us, from our kids to our parents, none of us that live in this planet today, whether you are living in your own country, for example, people in Tanzania, we've witnessed Chinese people beating some of us in our own home, very disrespectfully, and it happens across Africa. Whether you live in North America, as I was driving here today, I saw a police beside me and felt like, okay, I hope this guy doesn't stop me, because I know I'm driving a car that supposedly I am not supposed to afford, right? And we all feel that. None of us who lives in this planet have not feel this disrespect. And it is my belief, and it's how unfortunate it is, we are living in a dog-eat-dog world that emphasize on material things, cars, houses, money, and so forth. Although each one of us who live inside understand it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will only eat so much. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you're still going to sleep. It doesn't matter how much you have, you will feel sorrow and pain. It doesn't matter how much money you have, you will feel joy and happiness. All the experience as an individual that experience throughout their life does not change from within. It only change from outside. And this system, whatever democratic system that was created, that is controlling this world, put emphasis on that and take away the most important part of people listening and looking internally at their soul and behave and react, and mostly all of us are moving through life like sheep. We can't even think for ourselves. We just follow and do what we see. We live in an external world and completely ignore our internal world.
I really agree with you that there, Bori.
And the way this system was created, we black people, because we are from the poorest part of the world, everybody look at us as inferior.
You're very right.
And because of that, it is my appeal to black people to do what we can to change this narrative. And the only solution, all of us black people in this world, the only solution, so that people from other human race that is not black to look at us with respect before knowing what we are, is by African leaders agree to make Africa rich. I'm going to appeal to African leaders. African leaders, what you are doing in selling or stealing resources from our countries, I am not against that. You are human. But I just want to point out something that what they are doing to us. What they are doing to us is also disrespect for you. I can tell you this disrespect, whether you are the leader, whether you are not the leader, you are the person that sell peanuts on the street, or you are the president of the country. These people are disrespectful to all of us. Let me tell you how it is disrespectful to you as the president of the country. What they are doing to us, you as a leader, an example is like you're planting a garden of peanuts, and you harvest a full basket of peanuts, and then they give you or allow you to take a spoon of this basket of peanuts, and you give up the rest of the basket. Meanwhile, you have capability of taking a quarter of that basket of peanuts and share the 3/4 of the basket with your family. This is what they are doing to us. It is also disrespect and insult to your intelligence. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, it is my call to you to try to listen to what I'm saying and reflect and ask, beg, put pressure to our leaders in Africa to understand this, because it's the truth. Unless someone can come and tell me it is not true, prove that to me, this is an undisputed truth. All of us are being disrespected. All of us are being abused. All of us are being insulted. And there's absolutely nothing one individual can do. People have asked me, Dada Angu, my sister keep asking me, Borija, who are you? Many times. I have said, I'm not good about that, right? But I am somewhat considered to be living the life of somewhat successful by Canadian standard. Not rich, but successful by Canadian standard. Last weekend, I was coming from buying materials on Sunday. I was coming from buying materials. It was Saturday. I was coming from buying materials to fix a rental property that I own in Toronto. Trying to expand it and try to see if I can get a little bit more rent on it. I driving an Escalade, and here I am pulling in a gas station, trying to fill gas, because as I was going, I realized my car is empty. The car tell me no fuel and kind of thing, and I didn't have a chance to do it because of too much running around. Didn't have a chance to put gas, and finally reached at the point they said, if I don't put the gas now,
you're going to get stuck.
I'm gonna get stuck, and I'm in the rush. And here I come going to the pump, and I usually put the gas in a pump and then go pay, because most of the time as a smoker I always go buy a pack of cigarette with my gasoline. And I always pick at the pump that don't have these options of prepay. So I pick the pump that don't have the option of prepay. Try to pull the pump. Try to put the gas. Nothing is going. Click, click, click. Pressing that little piece to show the person that I'm here trying to put the pump. Can you activate the pump? And the fella put in the thing, oh, that is a prepay only. And I say, no, I specifically choose the one that say, no, prepay. I say, no, the prepay only. So I walk in the gas station, and I say, that gas, to pay only usually say prepay. And this one here, I say, to pump here, right? I think. So why are you saying this prepay? And he told me that my license plate number is not clear enough. That's why he could not activate it, right? So I look at my car. His Escalade is big, is tall. So obviously my license plate number could be seen properly. I said, my license plate number is there. And he told me that, no, we have a lot of drive off with people who fill up gas and they walk away. It's very normal. Sometimes
Simply
it's standard.
because you're a black man.
However, a person beside me who is a fair white fellow was going to another cashier to pay for the gas that he just put in his car. At that point, right, I just say, okay, thank you very much. I'm not going to do prepay. I am going to another gas station, right? And I walk and I went to gas station because I didn't see the reason to pay, to give my money to someone with that response.
Kind of attitude, yeah.
So
right.
Here I am, a scientist, successful individual who own a real estate company, doing very good with business, driving the car that even police sometimes stop me to see if I actually really own it, and going to the gas station to a person who is another race that is getting paid per year, not if you take the income per year, he has to work 5-6 years to get what I make in 1 year, or maybe 10 years to get what I take in 1 year, and being disrespectful to me and practically treat me like a thief just because of the color of my skin.
No,
I'm just trying to explain.
I understand you, Bori. And this has been a problem, not only for you. I see a lot of people complaining about that.
What I'm saying is there is no black person in any corner of this earth, whether you are in Fiji, whether you are in England, whether you are in Haiti, whether you are in Jamaica, whether you are in Nigeria, whether you are in Cameroon, whether you are in Tanzania, and these are black people countries that have not experienced what I'm saying. And I'm saying the only reason we're experiencing that is because the world has been conditioned to respect you based on your material possession. And as long as Africa is poor, none of us will have the respect. What we are going through, our fellow human Chinese went through, but is no longer the case. There is an example and motivation if you want it. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, I'm going to address this to the leaders of Africa. I'm going to communicate to the leader of African Union. I am trying to place a weight in your shoulder to change that for us, because all of us, including you are suffering the same thing.
Yeah, because most people think that black people in Western countries are the one who are suffering. But let me tell you, we are better off because the struggle the black people went through in America, in Canada, in Europe is far better than the struggle African countries have attempted to do. When you read the history of North America, if you read the history how black people in America struggled to fight civil rights, human rights, they're talking about Dr. Martin Luther King.
Nothing has changed because last year, during pandemic, we witnessed a police putting the knee in one of us until they suffocate to death.
Yeah,
A week later, there was another one who got shot by accident. And I can tell you today, there is millions of us in the different corners of the world experiencing that, whether it's disrespect of one of our young one in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, whether it's something that is happening to someone of us in high school, whether it's something that is happening to one of us in a professional environment at work, whether it's someone that is happening to one of us in our business dealings, whether it's something that happened to one of us on the road, in the street.
I agree. When
This happen to
every day.
to millions of us
And every day.
in every corner
And in
of
every
earth.
many ways, yeah.
And only thing that can help us is when these people from other race look at us based on what we are. Other than that, they will always look at us as who we are.
Thank you so much, Kakabori. DJ, take us for a short break, and we'll be back, Bori, to discuss this in details because what you are talking about is really, really very sensitive. And it's not the issue of black people who are living on the West. It's the issue of black people in the whole world. And that is really a meaningful statement which our leaders has to take note.
And this can only be changed by Africanization.
Thank you. Let's go for a short break. Viewers, stay tuned.
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting.
Bori, what you have been talking has really touched my bones because I really see people suffering every day. Our community black community, we don't have that confidence to go out every time because we are scared. But the way you are saying that, this is not the issue because we live in the West. I could say at least we have the laws where we can stand by and defend ourselves. But we are talking, what Bori is talking that African leaders, you are the only people you can rescue us from this discrimination and shame.
We are seeing in every country in Africa where we have our human fella from different race come to our country, start business and stores and restaurant and deny us to get in it in our own country. We are seeing some of us being nailed on our throat until we suffocate. We are seeing some of us being shot by police. We are seeing some of us being chased with a stick with other people from different race. We are seeing some of us being failed in schools because of the race. We are seeing that some of us being assumed to be thieves, even though we are not, just because of our race. We have seen that some of us who have lived before us, like Biden a few days ago, was apologizing for people in Tulsa where the whole community was burned down because of their race. We have seen some of us who have lived before us been taken in ships, in chain, as slaves, as the result of generations and generations being born out of Africa in countries and islands like Jamaica, Barbados, Haiti, Cuba, and obviously North America, Latin America, back there, Brazil. We have seen, for some of us who lived before us and saw our countries being colonized. I want to point out to our fellow Africans I want to explain to the black people who were not become the results of birth in Africa and they were born in islands as the offsprings of those who were taken as slaves. I want you to understand what you went through as slaves is not different from what Africans went through as colonies. Abolishing slaves instead of colony, it was just more efficient because as slaves, you are taken to come and develop these countries and make you work in the farms and all that and that. And in Africa, they came and use us as slaves and make work in the farms as a colony. The only difference is some of us had kept the identities of the family and clans and tribes. But that is the only thing an African from Africa have that was taken away from you. And since every one of us as human, with disrespect to your race is equal with absolutely no superiority or inferiority to anyone else, especially those who are living today, as I said, unless the exceptions are those who are anointed by the Creator Himself to be prophets and lead humanity. Those are the only exceptions. But everything else was created with someone just like you. He has absolutely no right to make you feel any less with disregard of what they have. Since everything, absolutely everything, from the house to shoes and cars, if you understand the science of matter, you'll understand is nothing but the movement of electrons, and that what you see as a solid shiny gold is not nothing but a movement electrons that will reflect a certain light that comes from the sun to give that color and give that illusion to your eyes and send that message to your brain to recognize that is the color of gold that you did not know until somebody teach it to you. This is how human we have been fooled. Now, I'm not going to come here and try to pretend that we can change that. It's not possible. It is the reality of the world we are living. But what we can change is the way they're looking at us and treat us and behave around us using exactly the same illusions that have created. I said last week, population of Africans in an African continent is 1.4 billion. Population of the world most populated country in the world, China, is 1.4 billion. Population of second is India, is 1.2 or 1.3 billion. And I also try to suggest, and I dare anybody to prove me wrong on this. If you take all black people that live on this planet today in the world, and yes, we know the origin of humankind is Africa. But until much, much, much later, after that humankind became origin in Africa, the ones that remain in Africa as human were Africans. And everybody that who is out of Africa and happened to be black was the result of being displaced from Africa, whether voluntarily like me, who came to Canada, whether by force as slaves who were put in a ship, whether you are born as an offspring of those who were brought by the ship as slaves. All of us that are black people in this world, our originality as today, we are Africans. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, I'm calling you to think, talk, act, start conversation, and try to help the continent of Africa to use the resources, population, and wealth they have so they can save you. So they can make you be respected. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, we have a very good example in China. China was nothing 20 years ago. Just by building infrastructure all across China, they have managed to take over the world. And they don't have even a quarter of our resources. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, we are the most populated people on planet. We have the biggest land on a planet. We have the most wealth in a planet. We are, based on this democratic illusionary system that was set, are the most poorest in a planet. Please appeal to our leaders to stop being treated as the pieces of little lands, just like a monopoly board. Let's build our infrastructures. Let's build our economy. So when they come and land to our spot, just like they land at Mayfair or a gas station or whatever those names that you have in a monopoly board, they pay a little bit of rent, not work for free, or pay them to pass in your own place. Dear black people, my fellow Africans, my talk to you today is not my intention to try to create hate or anger or whatever that is some people may have feel as I'm talking. But my intention is try to wake you up and understand that you actually are more worth than what they try to put you to. I happen to be a Muslim as my religion of choice on a faith.
You happen to be Muslim? You are a Muslim?
Yes, but there's many of us who are not. As my religion of choice, as a Muslim, I happen to learn one fact that I really believe, that our Prophet Muhammad, when he took a trip overnight to go to heaven, we call it Miraj, he met all the prophets and have meetings and talks with them and pray with them and all that. And he has given descriptions of few on how they look like. The descriptions that he gave to Prophet Moses is he looked like an African, like you and me. And for that fact, all these three religions in this world, whether Jews, whether Christians, or whether Muslim, recognize the only human being that God speak directly to in this planet
Was Moses.
was Moses. So, if you are black, so they call, because when I look at myself, I don't see black color. However, that's
You're brown.
that is the definition they describe me. That's what I found when I was born, and that's what is gonna remain when I die. So was Moses, and he was chosen by the Creator himself to be the only person to speak to on this planet. And guess what? The funny part, he's the one who was chosen to lead Jewish people because he was Jew. Does that make sense with the world that we are living today?
Wow. I like that. Yeah.
They are black people, my fellow Africans. Something is not right. Let's change it. I can sit here and talk forever, but we only have limited time. My appeal, I'm going to try to speak again to African leaders that you have a significant weight in you to change the life, respect of every one of us. And ignoring this is also ignoring yourself, because I am sure 100% as a black person, you go through the same thing we all go through.
Wow. Thank you, Bori. For what you have been discussing, I have nothing to add than telling our viewers, thank you so much. Maybe say bye to them and promise them to meet you next week, because you need to.
Yes, we'll talk next week. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue with this exactly communication. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But it's sickening that we go through this and we can change this overnight. African leaders, we know that the simple and quickest way to change this is Africanization. And I'm not saying that go and unite the entire Africa. It's not possible. We have different languages. We have different tribes. We have different things. We have so many differences. But at least we can change this if we change African economy. And the best way to do it is by building infrastructures that will link Africa and actually tap on a population of 1.4 billion. We will not need nobody.
Thank you so much, viewers. This is Tom's Radio Toronto. I'm Josephine, and our host was Bori Jahazi. Stay tuned. We have other more programs coming. We have news, and African Talks is coming back next week on Wednesday. See you.
Are you an international student who has recently graduated from a Canadian post-secondary school? If you have graduated from a designated learning institution, you could be eligible to apply for permanent residency under the new pathway set out by Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada. Contact Genesis Immigration Consulting
Asante.